So, my phone's been found. It's charging, and my wallet. I know exactly where it is now, so I've prepared for tomorrow because I have nothing else to do tomorrow except call the driving academy and figure out when they're going to reschedule the lesson for. Um, I don't have a full schedule. I have open availability, obviously, because of the position I found myself in, and yeah, my life is kind of failing upwards in a lot of ways. Um, what I did want to say about all this is just that I'm fucking done. You know, I'm done. I don't have time for this crap. Like it's juvenile shit, and he thinks that he is like well adjusted and that he's so special because he gets along with people and that he doesn't have all these social and interpersonal dramas and stuff. But like he thinks that because he fits in better than I do, that he's like somehow better. But he is an asshole. And like Delby already said about you, you seem like a real asshole because you're treating me like this. You are an asshole, and I imagine that you're probably proud of being an asshole. I would be ashamed if I was as mean as you are. And I'm not sorry to say that. You're a mean person, you're cruel, and you should hate yourself for being as cruel as you are. I don't want cruel people in my world anymore. To the cruel, and mean and nasty, you are an asshole, and that's all you are, and that's all you're ever going to be. So for the way that you've treated me, that's all that I have left to say. I was only an asshole defensively and back to you when you hurled your shit at me. You were the aggressor in this situation. I'm not going to behave this way. You know, I know that my fellow human is worth more than the dollar sign, the dollar symbols that he puts up, and the economic output he provides to society. I will not value humans based on the amount of output they have on the economic sense. My friends will be my friends regardless of how much good they do for society. I won't value people according to digits on a screen and how much good they do, in an economic sense. And that's what you want to kind of pressure me into. That's all that you're trying to do. You're trying to be like, I'm a better person than you because I'm out earning you. And that proves that I'm a better person somehow. Well, that's neoliberalism, and neoliberalism is societal cancer. I reject that entire perspective. I know that there are a lot of neoliberals out there, and a lot of the kids have internalized neoliberalism themselves, but I don't want their friendship because of it. I don't stomach neoliberalism. I reject its perspective, and I don't turn that lens of criticism on myself. I'm not sorry that I don't hold these things against myself, and I give myself breaks all the fucking time. You know, I will not hold myself to that ridiculous standard, the ridiculous standards of neoliberalism. And if society wants to try to tell me what we're going to, that's part of the reason why I own my own company, so I can say you're fired and I won't ever socialize with you again because you tried to force me into, you know, internalizing neoliberalism. What I'm trying to tell you is that on a social level, it's my way or the highway, and I reject neoliberalism. So if you want to push that shit in my world, then get out of it. It's rejecting neoliberalism or it's me. You can have one. You can have your neoliberalism or you can have me. And it's really that simple. If you want to be part of my world, then you have to reject neoliberalism. It's not an option, and it's all or nothing on this one. That's my boundary, you know. You want to be in my life, you want to offer input, you want to offer criticism, then you have to give up the cancer that is neoliberalism. If you want a definition of that term because you think I don't understand what it means, the political approach that favors free market capitalism, deregulation, and a reduction in government spending. Basically, it's trying to say that, the free market is always right, and if the free market puts a digit on people, and then that is what they are actually worth. Whatever the market is never wrong, the wisdom of the market is always right, and if you're living in a trailer, you deserve to be in a trailer, and that your circumstances are always entirely your fault. Like I said, we know from the data and from research that poverty is structural and not a matter of people's individual laziness or the flaws or an indictment of their character. Poverty is just a lack of cash and nothing more. It's not a character flaw, on any level. And I know that people like him want to tell me it is, but it isn't. And I don't want people like that in my world. You know, what a fucking loser trying to shame me because he's beating me at the game of capitalism. Jesus Christ. You know, how do I put this? There's a Tool song right into, you know, we should know that there's plenty to go around for everybody and we live in an abundant culture and we don't need to behave this way. You know, monkey killing monkey, divisions left and right. That's what you represent, and you think that is the world, you know, and that's the profoundly sick society that you're so defensive of, the one where everything counts by Depeche Mode, that music has been, you know, criticizing for all these years that we've been alive. I don't know why you haven't noticed, but music has rejected it for the longest fucking time. You're basically trying to shame me because you're beating me at the game of capitalism, and that's a game I don't care about losing. It's conspicuous consumption and all that crap, and you think that what I'm gonna sit here and cower in fear and hate myself because you're winning? I mean seriously, that's not how I roll. And it never will be. Shame, it's not part of my processing. It never will be. You want to know something though, because everybody has always wanted me to actually draw a distinction between these two terms and the subtle differences between the two: shame versus guilt. What are shame and guilt? Now, I've told people that I'm biologically incapable of feeling shame, and what do they say? Then that you're a sociopath? No. Guilt is feeling remorse or responsible for something you've done or that you perceive that you did wrong. Shame is feeling like you are bad, worthy of contempt, or an inadequate person, relating to our behavior to self, often in relation to other people's opinions, not necessarily about a specific behavior or event. What Guerrilla Warfare X wants me to feel is shame. I literally can't feel shame. Shame is something that is beneath me and that my biology and my wetware is not able to manufacture on any level. I am clinically and biologically incapable of feeling it at a genetic level. He's appealing to a non existent ability to feel shame, and these people can get properly fucked and they can take their shaming and shove it straight up their ass. I don't care. And now, moreover, what needs to be articulated is ultimately that I started my own company in huge part so that when I didn't want to socialize with somebody, see, when I was a kid, when I was in school, and I'll bring this up even though this was so far back in the past. I had this one teacher who told me that in life, sometimes we have to learn to deal with difficult people, right? The bitch told me that. That was her position. She basically said that if you're going to have to learn to get used to people bullying you, and find a way to make your way through life without, even though they do that. And I know that she's wrong now that I'm older, and that she was wrong back then. If I don't want to socialize with somebody, I don't have to, because I have my own company, so I will never be forced to work for somebody. If I don't like my coworkers, I don't have to put up with them. I can just walk the fuck out the door and say, I quit, I'm done. I don't want to socialize with you, Guerrilla Warfare X. That's the truth. I want you gone. And part of the reason for my aggression and my hyperbolic statements isn't because I actually believe the things that I say, it's because I pretend to believe them because they're alienating, and being as alienating as I can possibly be to get you to leave me alone is the only tactic I know how to use. I pretend that I think that people should be purged because I want them to get the fuck out of my life with the most expedience as possible. I do everything I can to radiate unpleasantness so they avoid me. Do you finally understand how I actually operate and my method of operation? I'm a lone wolf, Sigma male. I just want to do my own thing, and I don't care who the fucking king is.